I'm bringing good news in the rescue of the crew member, the weapons officer of the F-15E fighter jet that was down over Iran. I also bid you a happy Easter. So he is risen and another is rescued. So that's two tidings of good news all in one day. So there's always something to be thankful about, even in the worst of times. So, my friends, and that's one thing that might help you get through when we hit the worst of times. These kind of news items like this. So, my friends, what happened is that the F-15 weapons officer, Colonel, we do not have a name yet. We don't even know if it's male or female. We don't know if it's a light colonel or a full bird colonel, but it could have been a lieutenant colonel. But what we do know is the individual uh, practiced the survival, evasion, rescue, and escape tactics, the SEER tactics they were trained in, and the individual was rescued. The individual apparently was wounded from a firefight with some of the Iranians. There was quite a battle, as I understand it, in this rescue. Uh, what we know is that there's postings of videos on X I can't show on this channel that purports to show a lot of people who tried to go take this crewman who did not survive that attempt. You don't mess around with military special operations in the United States. These parajumpers, the PJs, as I mentioned last night, or the wee hours of this morning, previous morning, however you want to clock it. These people are bad hombres. They are trained almost at the level of Delta Force or SEAL Team 6, and they have paramedic training on top of that. So these are not somebody to mess around with. There were attack helicopters at play. There was the AC-130 or A-130 attack aircraft that, well, actually, there's an HH-130, I believe, or some HHC. But anyway, guys, these guys bring a lot of firepower. And it's my understanding that some of the forces that were both apparently IRGC forces, maybe Beijing forces, and civilians trying to get this individual because there was a bounty, a big bounty put on this individual's head, something like $60 million. So everybody wanted a piece of. The stupid thing is, I hear reportedly that they formed a convoy to try to go after him. That's really poor military training when you go up against U.S. Special Forces and U.S. firepower, because, the memory of what happened on that road to Baghdad, the road of death, where they were fleeing Kuwait. Nobody made it. They were all crispy critters. And apparently that's what happened to the people that was trying to capture this airman. Don't mess with the U.S. Uh, the U.S. has a history, has a long tradition of bringing our people back. So leaving no man behind. Yes, happy Easter, Chewy, and everyone else. So anyhow, this is good news for us. Two good news items. One, this Easter, he is risen, and another individual is rescued, and he is risen, rescues all of us. So, um, anyway, my friends, so this, yeah, there's quite a firefight allegedly. This colonel apparently evaded to a mountaintop. They had activated their communications device, the C cell that I showed you in a previous video, to show their location. And like I said, it has a GPS, and it's got two-way radio also. But as I mentioned earlier, you're not going to be on that radio talking blah, 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 blah in a tactical situation where adversarial people are crawling all around you. That's why they're trying to come with a new version that you can text message from. It's not out yet, but just keep that in mind. OPSEC. If you're ever in a tactical situation, keep your trap shut. It ain't TV. On TV, they're always going blah, 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 blah. You don't ever do that in a tactical situation. If you can be seen or heard, you can be shot and taken out in about 4 seconds. It's pretty dang fast. And somebody get a beat on you, you're gone. And the object is to keep somebody else from getting a beat on you. The military, especially snipers, really practice really good camo taking cover. That's part of the survival and evasion of the SEER training. And I've had one of the nation's top SEER instructors on this channel 2 or 3 times, John Hollerman. I need to get him back. He's a good friend, good guy. So anyway, the Iranians are good people. I'm not talking bad about the Iranians, guys. I'm talking about the forces, the people. Over half the people in Iran don't want to be dominated by the Islamic regime, and the Islamic regime is pure evil. They are pure evil. I mean, they marry girls at 9 years old. Tens of thousands. People talk about Epstein. Well, they ain't any issue over there because they do stuff more heinous than that. Is state sanctioned, par for the course. Marry little girls off to creepy old men all the time. Against while they're crying. Don't want part of it. I want to go back to mom and daddy. Yeah, it's heinous what to do over there. Let me tell you something. When I was in college, there were some Iranians that were, my main study buddy was an Iranian kid, really smart, really brilliant guy, and he was a good guy. My main professor was an Iranian. But there were some Iranians that just came over because they didn't want to fight the Iraqis. It was during the Iranian-Iraqi War, and then there were some that were like they were like the Ayatollah fanatic religious types. There were a few in that ilk. And I encountered some of them at the university. I got a small group, about 3 or 4 of them. I think it was 4 of them, dressed in their normal regalia, Mideast religious costumes. And one of them was fussing at me, trying to tell me how immoral and wicked America was. And I looked at him, I said, look, the only difference between us and you guys is you guys covered up. Over here, if something happens, it gets out in the open. See, I knew this because my first wife had been married to a Muslim. She told me about all the stuff they hid and kind of brushed under. And plus, there's all this stuff about marrying these young girls. But then he started to say something else. And I looked back at him and said, at least we don't use our kids to clear minefields. He shut the heck up. He didn't say nothing else to me. It's like 4 of them and just me. And I was pretty darn determined. I just looked him straight in the eye. I said, at least we don't use our young kids to clear minefields. And that is exactly what they were doing during the Iraqi war. They would send the kids, the children, out in front of the troops to clear the minefields. That's heinous. So don't lecture me about any morality of the Ayatollah regime. The people there's really good people in Iran. But the majority of the people don't want that regime controlling them. So I will give you that. There's some really good people from Iran. I've known some of them, been friends to them, had them in my house, like my main study buddy. I used to have him over the house. We would feed him. He's here in the United States all by himself, no friends, no nothing. So I kind of took him under my wing. And I was saying, wow, when this kid was in high school, I came that close to be sent to Tehran on that failed rescue mission. My stuff was packed on the tarmac at Pope Air Force Base when I was at Fort Bragg. We were ready to go. So I'm just telling you the way it is. There are good people there, but there's good and bad anywhere you go. But they got a special form of heinous in that faith that runs that 12th Iman fanaticism that the Ayatollahs subscribe to, that the IRGC subscribes to. There's nothing wonderful about that, and I'm not going to apologize for where I stand on that. That you do not put them on moral equivalency with us. They're the guys who take heads off. Kind of like the ISIL organization, ISIS and such. They are, they mow down their own people in mass, and that religion, you die for God. We have a religion where our God gave his son to die to redeem us. That's a big difference. That is a huge difference. It don't even equilibrate. It's not even on the same ballpark. It's like playing marbles against the baseball. So that's what we're talking about, guys. So uh, please, Trump, start hurting them. Uh, he's got to take the regime out over there, or knock them down enough, because they're going to come to it. They're going to come back. They'll come back. If they're not knocked down hard enough, they will come back, and this time they'll come after us. It's just a matter of time. And if Trump loses the midterms over this, he's going to be finished. The Republican Party will be finished if the midterms follow the Democrats. And you can bet your bottom dollar on another Republican will never touch Iran again. It'll be radioactive. If anything happens with them, it'll be the Israelis. And even Netanyahu is being challenged on. I got cats tearing the house up. I just have to check, make sure I don't have to stop them from ripping something vital. They've already torn heirlooms of mine to shreds. Anyway, so he is resurrected today. Well, a couple thousand years ago. Yeah, give or take a few years. But yeah, the resurrection is complete. So I've seen the shroud of turn, my friends. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. So anyway, boomer take. All right, explain that. How about explain it? You speak up, boomer take. I'm getting tired of hearing that boomer junk all the time. Talk to me. What is it about that that's bugging you, huh? Spit it out. Come on. Spit it out. What is it that's bugging you about it? Boomer take. Spell it out. Spell it out. Spit it out. Come on. Man up. Let's hear it. What specifically is your issue with my take on this? I was in the Army. I was put on the line. I almost went to Iran. And in college, even though I was challenging some of those who were all dressed out in regalia, I took an Iranian into my home very often, fed him, studied with him. He was a good guy. My main professor was Iranian. And because this guy, when his family came to the States, they so appreciated what I did. They invited me and the wife that I had at the time, my first wife, over to their home, and they fed us a really great dinner. And they spiced everything with saffron, which is a spice more expensive than gold. That's how they showed their appreciation for us. So I've got some real good Iranian friends. I got nothing against Iranian people. I'm talking about the regime that runs the country. So let's hear it. If somebody's got an issue with that, boomer, 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 come on, spit it out. Iran poses no danger to America. They've already killed a lot of Americans. They have sleeper cells, poison Canada that can come down, and probably sleeper cells here in the United States. They could take action, but they're holding back because they want to undo the president and the Republican Party. So if they play their hand now, that won't work out so well for them. So they got a bigger game they're playing, and they're likely to succeed. Hey, all right. Fighting a war against a country that poses no threat to us is a boomer take. Don't get your panties in a bunch, Greg. I can't say they pose no threat because they chant death to America. And then they say death to Israel. They call Israel the little Satan, America the big Satan. They blew up the barracks in Beirut and killed a bunch of Marines in Beirut. They blew up an embassy in Lebanon. They blew up our embassy in Kenya. And at that time, I was married to a Kenyan, and her sister walked in front of that embassy on her way to work twice a day. We were worried about her. Fortunately, she wasn't there at the time because people on the street, a lot of people on the street lost their lives. It was a huge explosion. They blew up the American embassy in Tanzania, which you call Tanzania probably. They have, if Colonel Cole was in the house, he would probably get all over you because he lost a lot of his very own soldiers to the IEDs that Soleimani sent to Iraq during that last Gulf War there. My son was in that Gulf War there. He was subject to have been hit by that stuff too. And they also sent those to Afghanistan. So a lot of Americans have lost their lives due to Iranian actions. So don't say that Iran had no threat to us. Iran was developing ballistic missiles. Iran was, if they had developed a nuclear weapon, they could have reached us with it. They could have reached us from Venezuela offshore with and he impeded us from some in ISO shipping containers, just like the North Koreans were practicing with back in 2016. So you can't say they're not a threat. I always said, though, they're not the biggest threat. I wasn't in favor of going into Iran to start with, and I said many times because our biggest threat is outside the United States is China. And I've said that a lot, and we've used a lot of ammo that we may need to deal with China. So that's where I'm coming from. To say Iran's not a threat is not true. Flat ass not true. Iran is a threat, but they're not as big a threat. They're a little threat. They're not as big a threat as China. If anything, Iran is a proxy of China. Now, I've done quite a few videos to try to paint the big picture, and I've painted or ran in the context of China and the big global game. We are in a big global game, and China is planning to take us all out, according to some of their generals and some of the statements that's been made. Now, some people say that speech may or may not be real, but statements by other generals and the research that's being conducted in China seem to underline what he was saying. And we're talking about this general was the defense minister of China at one time. And I've shown that stuff on video. So, you need to watch all my videos to get the full context of where I'm coming from. I don't make this stuff up. So, but I get called a boomer a lot. So pardon me for getting offensive about it because I got reasons for saying what I'm saying. I'm just not shooting from the hip with this stuff like a lot of people. It comes from analysis. It comes from things we've dealt with. It comes from the knowledge. Yeah, and they took a bunch of American hostages as soon as they took power. So, and I'm not talking about the people of Iran. There's a lot of good people in Iran. I fully understand that. Fully dealt with them. Like I said, I've had them in my home, and would do it again. Would do it again. And I have nothing against. I've got a lot of good Muslim friends. My next door neighbor back home, and sometimes he watches this channel. He's a plumber. Good guy. Really good guy. I'm more likely to give him a hug than not when I see him. The guy who killed bees on my property in Alabama was from Qatar. My neighbor was from Algeria. So, I deal with these people and on a friendly basis and have done so day in and day out for my entire career. So, let's see here. Exactly. Billy, we are interjected ourselves into Iran, so we are the bad guy. There was a lot of stuff at play there. A lot of stuff at play. I said to start with, we ought to save our ammo. I didn't think we should be playing whack-a-mole with the Houthis because we need to save our ammo for the Chinese. So, but I'm not going to sit here and say Iran was not a threat. That's my bottom line. Now, there were, the thing was that, if we were going to hit them, that might have been the time to have done it. And what I said about this, I said, look, Iran actually kind of started this. They were behind their proxies Hamas, who attacked Israel on the 7th of October, 2023. And that also took out 40 American lives. There were 40 Americans that died on the 7th of October. And so, and through their proxies, the Houthis, they were firing into the Red Sea. So Iran thought they had the upper hand because Hezbollah was so strong. Hezbollah had all these forces. They had Assad in Syria on their side. They thought that they finally reached a point that they could go and eliminate Israel. They did turn world opinion against Israel to a large degree. That part they were successful with, but the overall operation did not go as planned. And like one of the things I've always warned everybody about is that no good plan survives first contact with the enemy in combat. And that went for what Iran planned, and that also has gone for what Trump planned. It went for what Putin planned. Putin thought he'd be done with Ukraine in 3 days. And so we see this is what usually happens. These dear leaders have great plans, and they know that they can just wipe the slate clean real fast. And things don't always go as planned, especially when, wow, we decapitated right off the bat the almost the entire leadership of Iran, but Iran kept fighting. So, which is something I could have predicted. Uh, and I've often said, and over the years past, that Iran was going to be no cakewalk. I warned everybody about that a long time ago. That I talked about all the missiles they had and how much they were in underground bunkers. And I also warned that we did not take out their nuclear materials, even though Donald Trump said we did. I said, there's no way. And I gave the scientific proof for it, like nobody else I ever heard explain it anywhere in any media. Point blank, bluntly, those centrifuges have uranium hexafluoride in them. That's how that 60% enriched uranium exists. It don't exist in some powdered solid form right now. It's all in those centrifuges with the uranium hexafluoride. That even if the uranium wasn't in there, uranium is that enriched uranium is very radioactive. But even without that, that hexafluoride is extremely caustic and toxic. By caustic, it will rust everything. It will eat through things. By toxic, it will that stuff it gets on you breathe it in, it's a gas. You're gonna be doing the funky chicken, and I mean, you're gonna be dead. You're gonna do the spasms, and you'll be out. That's what I mean by funky chicken. If you've ever seen what it looks like when someone gets hit with a nerve agent or something like that, I have. Part of my military training, we've seen, we didn't watch it live, but we've seen the videos of the applications and stuff. It's heinous. So the fact is, that's what would happen. Yet, where the Fordo was at, and those big holes were in the ground, where the big bunker buster bombs went in, and precision strikes and blew up the facilities below, holes straight down, people walking around outside with no special purpose gear on, shirt sleeves, no respirators, no masks, no personal protective equipment. Why? There is no uranium hexafluoride in the area, which means, I mean, you blow up the centrifuges and you knock a big hole in the ground, and that gas isn't going to come out. No. That's why I said it didn't happen. Even though Trump was frying people for saying that, he was castigating media. I just come right and said, no, it didn't happen. I'm an engineer. I know better. Don't tell me that. But anyway, all that aside, the Ark of the Covenant. So uh, we cannot. Yeah, and thanks for the super chat, Fisher. So tactical nukes, maybe. Some of that stuff is 1,600 feet underground, even at Kazem Island, which is right in the Strait of Hormuz, right, just a few miles off the shore of Iran. They've got mountains there, about 180,000 people, and they've got a little missile city, and it said that that missile city is like 1,600 feet deep. It would take a number of nukes to knock that out. It's like Cheyenne Mountain. You'd have to hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it again to penetrate it. Now for something, a few hundred feet down, like the Pickaxe facility, you probably could take that out with a couple of nukes just by the compression wave pushing it in. But when you're like 1,600 feet in, the one nuke isn't going to do it. I mean, everybody thinks nukes will just take out everything. No, they don't. And everybody thinks they're going to die when there's a nuke. Well, no, you probably, if you're not at ground zero, you're going to survive for a little bit. And then if you're not prepared, you will suffer a very painful death over the long term. That's why I tell people to be prepared, to get prepared. Everybody's got some fantasy that it's going to be like switching off a light switch and you're going to be DEAD. No. If you're at ground zero, yeah. But tons of us ain't at ground zero. Probably not many of you are. We're talking right at the military bases. We're talking living right in the core of some big city. Some of you work in some of those big cities, but you actually live there, you're probably going to survive it for a little bit. So if you are going to survive, you need to know how to survive it well. So you may be blinded by the flash, rolled over by the shock waves, and shredded by shrapnel and leaking blood and getting radiation all over you. I've done some videos on how to survive this stuff, and I'll probably do some more. I'm gonna start another channel because all my good survival, how to do stuff videos are hard to find because I put so much news content out here. So I'm gonna start another channel to explain survival better. But anyway, so happy Easter, Captain Alpha. Was the captain Apana? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Pana. uh, Okay, pardon me if I missed it. So, yeah, Iran wants Jerusalem. Iran wants to take out Israel, but they want to take us out more. We're the great Satan, and it's part of their 12th Imam religious dogma that they just about got to bring on a nuclear war to get this 12th Imam to climb out of his hole in the ground. Only the Shia Islam has that particular philosophy, that particular aspect of their faith. So, in any event, yeah, I probably said too much on here talking about marrying young girls because this YouTube channel platforms don't like that kind of stuff getting out, but it's true. It's true. I might get knocked out for that, but I'm bringing you guys the truth. All I know is I was told, all I know is I was born on March 11th, 1971. Well, that's a good time to be born. March is a good month. So, in any event, um, yeah. So I'm gonna cover some survival stuff, guys. I'm gonna go into grid down stuff more in depth, or at least I think I went too far in depth on my nuclear survival video. I think most people it was too much, so I'm probably gonna back out a little bit and maybe save the depth for some kind of book or course or something like that. Uh, there's nobody else on YouTube went as far as in depth as I went in my topics that I covered on nuclear survival. I mean, I explained radiation to the nth degree scientifically. I explained all forms of radiation. I explained the lethal dosages. I explained what would make you sick, what the various dose levels are, what it means. Radiation levels and dose levels are two different things. There's different means of measuring radiation. I went in great detail on all that. And I talked about how to shield from it. And I talked about how to make improvised shelters. So I talked about a lot of stuff. In fact, it was like 2 hours worth of content. I divided it up into two different videos, but I realized I was probably too deep in. So I will try to redo those. And I'm also going to redo my power grid defense videos. I have people ask me about that. I did a lot of power grid defense content in the early days on this channel. I did videos on how to survive an EMP. I did videos in that video talking about tactics, how to move tactically, how to take out a sniper, how to put in a foxhole. These are things I trained on when I was in the Army. Share that mind even further. Andy sings. Okay. So yeah, I try to bring you guys that kind of stuff. How hey, I've been a survivor because the good Lord has saved me for some reason. I shouldn't be here. I've come so close to not being here so many times. I mean, some of the events I survived happened in my life. I should not be here at all. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here at all. I mean, I think God's got something in store for me. Uh, Something I got to do. And I think a piece of that, at least, is that universal habitat. I don't know how I'm going to build it because it looks like the job I was hoping would help me finance that maybe going poof here in just a few days. So I got to come up with something. In any event, Michael Maybe. Oh, yeah. Sergeant Major Michael Maybe. I've had him on this channel several times. Great man. Great man. Had him at my conferences. Had him on my channel here several times. He's a hero. He's the guy. He was at 9/11. He was in the towers when they were hit with planes, and he was the guy that ran in to take a wounded guy out. And that wounded guy uh, con congratulated Mike Maybe, Sergeant Major Mike Maybe, for Command Sergeant Major Mike Maybe for saving his life. And he says, "No, you saved mine." I said, "I'd still be in there if I wasn't bringing you out of this building." So that's the kind of guy I was. That's the kind of guy he is. He got on 60 Minutes talking about power grid defense. But anyway, yeah, he's an awesome individual, and I'll also try. I'll try. I don't know if I can get him back on or not. He's kind of went silent for some reason. Something's happened in his life. Um, I got to see if I can contact him, see what's going on. I've had several people from the power grid defense community. I'm a member of two power grid national level power grid defense committees. the Secure the Grid Committee, and the Task Force on National and Homeland Security, founded by none less than the late great Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, who I could call on the phone and talk to. I've had him on this channel several times. In event, so um, Greg, Greg and I did the Army. Yeah, I was in the Army. Yeah, but volunteered for it. I was in the Army. Absolutely. I joined as a 19-year-old in 1979. And I joined for 3 years because I wanted to be able to get out soon to go to flight school. Because I wanted to be a fighter pilot, test pilot, maybe become an astronaut. I gave that goal up because of some shenanigans a wife won for the sake of my son, who was already born. And to get her up to Alaska, I extended my tour in the service by 9 months so I can do a 2-year tour up there. So I was in the Army for 3 years and 9 months, and then I went in the National Guard when I got out of the Army for 2 years, Alabama National Guard. So when I was in high school, I was in ROTC. So I served in the Army, served in the National Guard, and I became a civil servant for the Army when I was in college, co-oping, working my way through school. I worked my way through college. And I worked later for the Army and also the Air Force alternately as contractors. So I have worked on the M1A2, A1 and A2 tanks on a couple of different occasions. I've worked on the F-15 fighter craft, the one that got shot down or crashed. I have worked on the PRISM missile system. When I was in the Army, when I was a civil servant, I was working on the ARIS program, Exo-Atmospheric Reentry Interceptor Subsystem, which became the ground-based interceptor. That's what it evolved into, which later was stationed at Fort Greely, Alaska, my former duty base. So my final duty base. I was at Fort Bragg, then Fort Greely. So I've been in the Army. Yes, I've been to Fort Bragg, been to Fort Greely, served in both places. I don't know what Fort Bragg looks like these days. I'd like to get up there and have a look at it one day just to see how much it resembles what I knew. Because I left there in 1981. And April 1st, 1981, I was at Fort Greely, Alaska. First day of April, 1981. And I left there in 23 April 1983. So that was my service. Granddad and uncle were both 82nd Airborne. Okay, very good. My dad was with the headquarters company, the 18th Airborne Corps. The 18th Airborne Corps was over the 82nd and 101st and a couple of other airborne divisions, all the airborne divisions. And my dad jumped with the 82nd. He also jumped with the 101st. Back then, they didn't have helicopters. 101st jumped out of planes just like the rest of them. So, yeah, my dad saw their third training. They're supposed to have 3 training missions. He said on their third training jump, they looked down and noticed they were way over the enemy lines. Surprise, surprise. Their training mission was combat mission. So that's the way it rolled back in those days. Hey, Eddie, how you doing, buddy? So anyway, yeah, and John Hollerman, we're talking about this here stuff. John Hollerman is also an officer. He's one of the key officers in the Task Force on National Homeland Security, founded by the late, great Dr. Peter Vincent Pry. I've had him. I've had David Pines, an officer in that organization. I've had Glenn. I'm getting brain lock right now. I'm going to say somebody else's name. Glenn Rhodes on my channel. He's in that. I've had people from the Secure the Grid Foundation in my telecons, in my podcast. I've interviewed them. So I've interviewed people from both of these organizations, and we got we're intertwined. We're very intertwined, these two organizations are. So we share a lot of commonality and membership and goals. They're not the exact same organizations, but just like myself, I'm involved in both. Graduated Airborne School in August 25th, 1989. Well, very good, brother kid. I was out of the service then. That's about the time I was graduating from college. That's when I was wrapping up my college. They actually graduated in December. They didn't give us a summer graduation, but that's when I was wrapping up my college. After 11 years of going to college, I paid my own way through. I wasn't, my parents didn't send me to college. I didn't have, all these benefits. I scrapped my own way through college. And that included from working in a chicken plant, hanging live chickens, working in a cotton mill, uh, working my way up from the bottom, literally. If I can make it through college, anybody can. And engineering school to boot. May I ask you, Greg, what do you think of Colonel McGregor? I don't think much of him. Uh, I think he may be a stooging a little bit for the Russians. I don't know. I Yeah, he always comes across one way, but he's not always right. There's a lot of them like that. They got a lot of certitude where they think they're coming from. I was listening to him at first, but over time, I'm just not fond of him anymore. I'm not going to go all into that right now. Just not fond of him anymore. Tucker Carlson, I used to really like Tucker Carlson, but I think he's dropped off the deep end in the especially last couple of months. But anyway, things happen. Um, there's a lot of different things out there. So yeah, happy Easter, AOE Life. They are all WEF. Yeah, then yeah, that may be my problem with them. I do not like WEF. Y'all know that. Um, y'all should know that quite well. I got no love for anybody that swings in that club or the related clubs. That's just one of many. There's the burger builders. I'm flipping the word around if you know what I mean. There's all the guys that go party at the Grove in Bohemian Grove. There's the quite a few. There's the CFR, the Trilateralist Commission. LOL, if you don't like Tucker, you'll really think I'm a radical. I didn't say I didn't like him. I just think he's fallen off the deep end a little bit lately. So he came out well, but I just don't trust him as much of late. Um, so and be honest, I tell you guys, trust no man. I always tell you that. Trump or anybody else, trust no man. None. Um, but anyway, all that said, they are friends who McGregor and Carlson, whatever. WF can to E double hockey sticks. I don't know what you mean by that, Scott Mack. Um, yeah, he may have been bribed or something. Yeah, what happened to somebody might have got to him. Yeah, he's just changed tune. He's changed tune a lot. Uh, you like the Russians? Yeah, I've been to Russia. I've been inside the Red Square. Now my youngest daughter, sung opera before she started singing opera. My first opera was in what was it, the Duma? It's the house where the basically the Russian Congress meets. They have a big theater in there, and they were celebrating having beat the Nazis in World War II, and they had the Cossacks dancing. Those guys, they would bend down where their rear ends would be about that high off the ground, and they got their knees kicking in the air. It hurts my knees just to look at it. So how do they do that? Ouch! Sure enough, boy, they'd be kicking them legs out, squatted down so low. It's like, geez, that hurts to look at. That's a heck of a dance. But yeah, so my first opera, I don't know, might have. No, yeah, my first opera was it was there in the red inside the Kremlin, inside the Red Square. I've been there, done that. When I was in Russia, I would meet the people there, and I'd walk around the street and I look around and say, why in the world would these guys want to nuke us? And I go, why in the world would we want to nuke them? They're people. people are pretty much the same anywhere in the world. The governments is what turns us all against each other. And I've said it many times before. But the problem in the world is the governments. All of them, ours included. Governments are the problem. Now, I wouldn't swap ours for theirs, at least right now, or any other, but ours got issues too. We got too much bureaucracy, and bureaucracy takes on a life of its own. It metastasizes. It's like a cancer. Once it starts growing, it gets malignant and just keeps growing. These agencies survive for their own purposes, and that's just to survive and empower the people that run them. And you get all these agencies that are set up to regulate the industry to look after our well-being. Well, it just so happens that those industries they look after and the agencies that look after them, their people swap employment all the time. They got a revolving door between them. They're incestuous. And the worst ones are NERC and FERC that are supposed to be regulating our power grid. I mean, the National Energy Reliability Corporation has got to deal with the Federal Energy Regulatory Corporation, NERC and FERC, such that they got it set up where the federal government can't initiate a regulation. It's got to come from NERC, and all FERC can do is rubber stamp it. It's just mind-boggling. It is literally mind-boggling. I talked about that years ago here on this channel. It's one of the most incestuous relationships you'd ever see. But these kind of things exist between the companies that serve as contractors to federal agencies, be it DOD, even NASA, all these federal agencies. They're in, the FDA with the drug companies. Yeah, they're in bed with each other, big time. So, that is something. Red tape is a problem, but these agencies are too big, they're inefficient, and they're in bed. The regulator is in bed with the regulatee. And they're looking after each other, not you or me. And that's what you got to get firmly set in your mind. That's why our food and our consumer products in this country are full of crap. Big time. Big time. And the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, is in bed with the big ag conglomerate companies, not the little farmers. Earl Butz, when he became Secretary of Agriculture under Richard Milhouse Nixon, he took it upon himself to favor the big corporate farmers and start smashing the little guys, the little farms. And a lot of damage was done to the American, family farmer under him, and it has just been rolling ever since. So I got no love for Earl Butz, but I had the great pleasure as a child. I think I was 12 at the time. I'd been a little bit younger. See, my dad was a U.S. government inspector. But he was actually president of one of the unions, AFL-CIO unions, the poultry inspectors over the entire Southeast. Well, my dad was calling out the corruption in the poultry industry, and they had a TV show. ABC News came to our house 2 times when I was growing up. Once when I was about 12 and once when I was probably about 14. ABC News came to our house and they did their first special they did was called Green Grow the Money. They interviewed my dad, and my dad told them that they were putting arsenic in the chicken feed to make the chickens grow out faster. Now, the regulation said that they would remove arsenic is a bioaccumulative. The more you take in, it stays in you. You don't shed it like other things. It's bioaccumulative in your body. And arsenic is not necessarily good for you if you haven't noticed. But they put it in chicken feed. It will make chickens get fatter quicker. So they're supposed to have cut it out 6 weeks or some number of weeks before harvesting the chickens. So my dad said they were feeding it to them all the way up to harvest. These guys on this ABC News special, then they showed my dad saying that on the ABC News. The next clip, they were in Earl Butt's office asking him about it, and he cussed. He said, "No, that's not happening. Blah blah blah. Absolutely, I know for a fact that's not happening." The next scene was my dad with these guys at a chicken house where they just harvested chickens, taking a sample of chicken feed, and it tested positive for arsenic. So I got to watch my dad make an absolute liar out of Earl Butz on national TV. When I was just a kid, I loved it. That is something I'll cherish for the rest of my life. Earl Butz lived up to his name. That's what he was. But anyway, so uh, eek, buddy. If the American people weren't so dumb, the ballot box would work. It'd be better. It would be pretty much over. Well, yeah, that's what I'm telling about. You need to get the ballot box. We need to get there in droves. But really and truly, I'm hoping if I can build this universal habitat, they ain't gonna be much use for any government. If you got a home you can live in and make a living out of and grow all your food in, you got everything you need. I mean, you'll be able to collect water off the roof. You generate your own power. This is going to be a self-contained habitat. I think you can build it cheaper than regular houses. Seriously, I got a concept that's a killer concept. I've done videos on it. And I'm going to build one if I can pull it off. I'm going to build one right out here. My source of revenue just going poof. So I got to figure out a way to do it. But I want to build this thing. I want to build a demo yet. In fact, I'm planning to build it in such a way that I can hermetically seal it. So if there's biotoxins in the environment, if the Chinese come over and go poof, blow out some stuff to wipe us out, yeah, I'll still be able to live. I'll be in my own little spaceship right here next door here in the desert. And anybody can do this anywhere. That's why I call it universal habitat. It will work anywhere. We got souls on the house. Hey, there you are. Yeah, be blessed. Easter. Amen. So I got a concept that I'm working on. It's going to be game changer, big time. I can just pull it up. I think everybody's got to see it. I've talked about it, but talking about it ain't good enough. So I'm going to have to build one somehow. I've got some people around here that's volunteering to help me. I just got to come up with a wherewithal financially, one, to not lose everything, and two, to be able to pull it off. Seriously, my income is about to go poof, and I got to figure out a way to pay bills. I'm not even sure I can claim this place as a residence. So everything I got's probably at risk right now. Maybe living in my van again. God knows where. So that was a real takedown. Takedown of what? So Charlie also talked about the global Gnosticism with who are we talking about? Charlie who? Charlie talked against the Israelis. Yeah, that may be who he talked against them. Yeah, they may have taken him out. Yeah, some people are saying they thought that the Iranians took him out because he was pro-Israel, but I think he'd switched, and that might have been what got him. I don't think it was the guy they caught because the round that took out Charlie did not come from his position. Go watch Chris Masterson over on Peak Prosperity. The guy did a masterful work in the analysis from the acoustics and everything. Nobody comes close to his level of analysis. All these other wags that they're talking, it was this, it was that. No, push all that garbage aside. They're full of crap. Peak Prosperity got the story. They got it. They got it right. And there was some kind of cover up going on. And now the round that they found with Charlie did not match the round of the suspect's rifle. So you can go figure that out. Something fishy there. Billy Kid, that wouldn't surprise me one little bit. I got high suspicions in that regard. But, I think probably some of the law enforcement in Utah were in on it, and maybe even the FBI. But the FBI and Mossad are kind of like CIA. They're all kind of. That's why, I did a video showing Bondi and Cash Patel and even what's his name, Dan Bongino, all three of them together with big old noses about that long. I think that one was though in response to the Epstein stuff. So I'm not hit real hard on these topics, but I've covered them. There's plenty of other people hitting hard enough on that. You think he'll be found not guilty? I think he is guilty. He's guilty of being a patsy. Maybe he was set up to do it. Thought he was going to do it. So he might have been an aid or an accessory, being a patsy. But I think he was a patsy. Just like I think the JFK story. Anyway, so yeah, I think typically when they want to pull something, they got a patsy to stand in. That's a fingerprint of the big operators. Yeah, to stand in. I was going to show y'all a bunch of news articles where we sat here and went off topic. Well, the main topic we announced early on was the rescue has happened. And I did say that, of course, it's Easter. So it's a good time to announce a rescue in celebration of He is risen. So he should walk after and sue later. Yeah, or maybe. But he did fall for becoming a patsy, which means he was probably a weak-minded individual. That's what they do. They find people, they got an MO. They find people that are weak-minded people. They always find somebody that's a weak-minded individual and they play them. They groom them. They set them up, usually to be a patsy. Sometimes they do the dirty deed. And he might have been a backup. If the guy that did it didn't do it, he might have done it. I mean, he was set up as if to do it. So he might have carried through with it. But kind of like Oswald. Oswald admitted he was a patsy before they took him out. And yeah, probably. There's a certain individual who's actually admitted that he did the dirty deed with JFK. But a mafia member. And I've seen the tapes on that. So interesting stuff. Queen Patsy. I don't know about Queen Patsy. Oh, was he a queen or his boyfriend was a queen or something? I don't know. Uh, yeah, it brings up Lee Harvey Oswald. Exactly. Oswald said he was a patsy. Uh, I think he was probably telling the truth. And again, he was a person that they could have easily set up because he had gone to Russia when it was under the Soviet Union days. He had hung out with some nefarious crowds, but he was cultured. He was groomed. And I think this guy may fall in the same category. The guy that what was his name? Combs, what the guy that took the pot shot at Trump in Pennsylvania? Didn't his cell phone register a few times around about the headquarters of the FBI? Something fishy. Something fishy. What was that all about? Some oddball things. They were furries. Oh, Lordy. Yeah. A lot of fishy business there, my friends. A lot of fishy business. Howdy from the high desert of Idaho. I'm making worm beds. Very good. Getting ready for the collapse of the farming as we know it. Well, if you're a worm farmer and nobody else can get fertilizer, you're going to be ahead of the game, my friend. You may find yourself in huge demand, but you can't, it's going to be hard to get big enough to be of demand to big agriculture, but you can certainly help out the gardeners. So, big demand. Guys, you better be gardening. Okay, what was proven to be BS? Bill the Kid, what was proven? You said that was proven to be BS. That what? Specify. Good to see you, Gen X Awakens. All right, so plenty of things here. Zoroastrianism, Gnosticism does not take one form. That's the whole point of it. Well, that was probably the origins of the monotheism and Judaism. Uh, Not hit with it was a razor blade. No, go watch Peak Prosperity. Very detailed ballistic analysis, angular analysis, acoustic analysis. It interlocks. It interlocks. He nailed it. Chris, I think his last name is Mashon. He nailed it. Trump was reported to be asking, did they believe it? Fight, fight, fight. Oh, with Trump. Well, I was talking about the Charlie thing. Um, they have so many mosquito. They have so many mosquito fish. It's not even funny. Been a nice year for them. Well, if you got fish in their ponds, they'll eat the mosquito larvae if they're predatory fish. No, Greg, I promise you, he was not hit with. You talking about Charlie? Watch Pre-Prosperity. He explains the angle, how it went down the bone, why it didn't come out the back. Whatever the case with Trump, guys, I'm not here to debate Trump or about him. But I'm telling you guys, if you're not careful, if the Democrats win in the midterm, this country's done. Uh, but I've always told you, don't put your faith in any one man, Trump included. Put your faith in no man. Well, whatever the case, Bill the Kid, somebody behind him got hit and killed by the same thing. So, yeah, and also you will find that Peak Prosperity analyzed that shot too. So go watch them for both cases. Just go watch Peak Prosperity. That guy has the best analysis on all this stuff of anybody on YouTube, bar none. No one else comes close. Not even in the same ballpark. I don't care what kind of ballistics training and all these other people know. Peak Prosperity, that guy, he mastered it. He nailed it. Anyway, nobody else comes close to his level of analysis. And he's got it from several angles, very scientific. Nobody else is in the same ballpark. Anyway, uh, so let's move on. We're talking about a little bit about this war here. I don't want to be on all night like I was last night or last morning because that wiped me out most of the day. I got things to do. Was a scar from his ear. Well, he was bleeding. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and analyze that to the nth degree, guys. We got bigger issues than that. Bigger issues than that. To find a second crew member, you mean from which event? From the Charlie Kirk event? Somebody got away. Somebody got away. Somebody got away. You know what? Whatever happened to Trump ain't gonna make any difference. What happens to you tomorrow? So let's just go on. We got bigger fish to fry. We got wars going on. We got people in this country that want to cause nefarious problems. We got people outside this country want to cause nefarious problems. And we're beyond rumors of wars. We got wars. Plus, there are rumors of more wars. So there's plenty to get our attention to become consummate preppers. Well, what we don't need though is the Democrats taking over. I went into detail. If you want, let me tell you something. I covered this in great depth. Go back and watch my last video on Swivel News. I spent 3 hours explaining what's going to happen in this country if the Democrats take over in the midterms. And I told you, put your faith in no man. I don't give a dog about whether it's Trump or anybody. You're making big issues, big molehill out of that guy. There's a movement of people that are tired of the WEF crowd and these others that want to take us down the road of socialism. And you can forget any person. We got to look at who we are in our movement. That's what I've been trying to say. You're getting wrapped around one person, and I've been telling you guys for a long time, do not put your faith in any one person. I've been saying that for a long time. And that's why I've been saying that, because I realized there were some big limitations there and some big issues in that department. But he has done some good things. He's taken us out of a lot of the NGOs. He's taken us out of a lot of the UN organizations. He is trying to set us up as a civilizational state, taking us away from the globalist stuff. The Monroe Doctrine ought to be exercised, but he may be taking us somewhere else too. And I put the warning out about that. I put that out during his first administration, in fact. I asked if he was a covert agent of the deep state first time out. Everybody got mad as all fire at me for that. That's why I've been saying for a long time, put your faith in no one person. But see, you're letting yourself get so wrapped up around that and him, you're forgetting the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is us. It's our country. It's our future. And that's where I'm hammering. Don't get wrapped up and let one person pull us totally down and let the other side come in and run us in the ground. If you like having open borders, if you like 70,000 Americans dying per year from F-ball, if you like having drug gang members trafficking in women and children into sex slavery in this country, if you like drag queen story hour, if you like where they were trying to fix, where parents would have no say on what the schools put in your kids for puberty blockers, or whether they take them to the surgery center to change who they are while they're still in puberty and don't even know where they're heading. If that's where you want this country to go, then just sit on your hands and keep doing what you're doing. I've spent 3 hours preaching this on Civil Head News. I'm not going to do it again tonight. This is Easter. So go watch that video and stop that topic right now, because we got other things to talk about. Go watch that video. I spent 3 hours talking about it. I'm not going to talk for 3 hours about it tonight, but I'm going to draw your attention. Go to Swivelhead News and watch my last live stream. Then come back and talk to me. If you don't agree with it, fine, but at least you'll know where I'm coming from. I do not ask everybody to agree with me. But it's too easy. That's what that side wants us to do. They want us to get all wrapped around that. And that's why, if he's a covert agent of the deep state, that's his purpose, is to get us wrapped around that so that we'll miss the big picture. So if you're falling for that, then you're falling for the trap. I'm being blunt. I'm being brutal. If you don't like it, fine. But I'm putting it out here tonight. I put it out here real heavy on Swivelhead News. Now, that's where I really want to put the political stuff, not here. But I did it in spades the last time I was on Swivelhead News. Go watch that video. Go watch it, see it. Because I don't give a dog about that. I don't give a dog about Trump. I'm telling you, we are a movement, and we got to watch out for ourselves and our country and our people, because we're about to lose our nation. And we may lose our lives. If China gets their way, you ain't even going to be here. Ain't nobody you know going to be here. We will all be pushing daisies. You need to watch some of my other videos. I went in great detail about this stuff. I'm trying to save our country. I don't care about any person. No one person do I care about. I care about our country, our people, our movement, our freedom. What do you think I put up the Freedom Restoration Foundation? Because I still pay for it out of my own pocket. Guys, That's the problem. We get so wrapped around one little issue. We get so wrapped, so tight around it, we can't see nothing else. Not the big picture. The world around us is about to eat us. You need to wake up. The world is coming to eat you from many different angles. I'm trying to wake you up. When do you think I tell you to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel? It's coming from so many different angles, it's not funny. Now, this ain't the kind of message we need to be fighting over on Easter, folks. So let's calm it down tonight and move on to other stuff. But you can go watch my Swivel Head News and quit talking about it here. Don't even talk about it. You watch my video on Swivel Head News. Then come back and talk about it. If you want to fuss about me, fine. If you don't like what I've said, fine. Tell me about it. But let's save it for the next video. This is Easter. Let's save it. Only because we're allowing them. Oh, I'm trying to wake people up so they don't allow them. But guys, you pay attention. Go watch my next video. Well, Billy, the kid Norton, how do you plan to do that? I'm more worried about the political left taking this country and what their plans are. It's bigger and worse. And Trump may be there for them. So I warned about that years ago. Years ago. Everyone that didn't get an Easter egg can stay angry. I got some Easter eggs, by the way, and we'll guess about that later. I'm trying to calm down. You don't let it go. I'm trying to tell you, go watch my other videos. Quit talking about it here tonight. I don't want to cover this topic anymore. Not tonight. So there we are. Yeah, we're divided, too divided. This whole country is extremely divided. I think we're more divided today than we were in 1860. And I see that. So most people talk within their own circles. They talk with their friends. On my Facebook channel, I got people on both sides of the aisle. When I post stuff, ooh, I get all kind of comments. Some of them are visceral, very visceral. So it's amazing where we're at. And I'm seeing people post stuff that is downright scary. Downright scary. We need to be focused on the actual words of Jesus. Amen, soul's eye jewels. Exactly. Because you get too wrapped up in the affairs of man, you're going to lose your soul. And the only thing worse than losing your life is losing your soul. Jesus came here to save you. And this is the sacred holiday commemorating that he rose. He paid the ultimate price, the ultimate sacrifice. And I've seen the Shroud of Turin with my own eyes. And I believe it's real. No, they don't want a fastest economy, Christy. I don't agree with that either. I don't agree with that either. And look, I did a video talking about that F word, and that is bait also. So that is a whole nother story. So the hearts of many will grow cold. Yes, absolutely, Gen X awakens. And we need to avoid that because that's exactly what's happening. People are getting this bitterness toward each other right now. They're trying to fight. And that's why I did a video many years ago about rose-colored glasses. I was trying to talk about worldviews, and I was trying to get people to talk with them, have dialogue with the other side to try to bridge the gap because I saw this coming years ago. I saw this coming. And that's why, you don't have to agree with me on this channel. And that's the same way my Facebook. I've had people say, wow, I would get rid of them as my friends. I think it does purpose for people to see how other people think. I think that's valid because we get in our own little groups and clubs and on our little social media, most of us live in a little circle and everybody talks the same way. And you forget there's somebody else out there that don't think at all like you. And if we get more and more stovepiped, we get more and more divided. So we need to have discourse. We need to talk with each other. And if you don't agree, that's fine. You don't agree with me here. Yeah, we're on the way to the moon. They are too intertwined now, Christy. I will agree with you there. The corporations and government are too intertwined. This private, the so-called government-private partnerships is not a good thing. There's nothing good about that. So I've appreciated YouTube because of vast countenance. Okay. Human what think what we are made of spiderweb of life. Anyway, so yeah, we don't need these government private partnerships because the government shouldn't be picking the winners. That's corporatism. That's not capitalism at all. That's corporatism, crony corporatism. And that never is of any good. Just ask China, the government runs all the corporations. It's not a partnership. They run them. They are the corporations. So they let them exist as corporations to have some facsimile of market forces, but they don't have any social safety network for the people over there. It's not what a lot of people think. I would say China is more that F than the C these days. And I don't think either one of them is great and wonderful. Yes, we need to be able to converse with respect. And like I said, you can disagree with me, and that's fine as long as you're respectful. In fact, I welcome that. Well, there's people in here disagreeing with me right now, but um, the only thing I was getting going about was I wanted to change the topic. I don't want to keep drilling on the same thing. Like I said, if you want to go over to Slow Ahead News and watch what I said over there about it, then come back and talk to me because I've made a big, long explanation of 3 hours worth. And I don't want to repeat it. I don't want to repeat it. Go watch you over there and then come back and talk to me over here or talk to me over there. And you can disagree. That's fine as long as you're respectful. I got people that, a lot of my friends keep telling me, defriend this person, defend that person. No, it's actually interesting. They keep coming back with what they're coming back with because it really shows what other people are thinking. And that's scary. I think some of my friends that think like I do also need to see this. It's educational. Yeah, well, big topic, Christy. It's a big topic. We're not going to go all into that tonight. That's a big topic. Big one. I think if somebody pays in something for a long time, they're probably entitled to it. It's possible there could be better structures. Uh, this concept I got for universal habitat, you wouldn't need any of that stuff. I'm telling you, you're not going to need nothing from the government. Greg, most people have an attention span of a goldfish. You got to drill people with stuff. you're, I think you're right on that because I cover stuff. I covered ad nauseum, and then people come in and ask me about it like they never heard about it. I get that all the time, but it's like, what? Sometimes my head explodes. What? Have you ever watched any of my videos? It'd be somebody that's a regular watcher too. It's like, what? Where do you come out with that? My first year not doing eggs, empty nest. Oh no. Well, I got some eggs. We'll check egg count in a minute. All right, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I did not want to be this late, not by a long stretch. I might show some articles. We're gonna have to fly through them quick. Um, because we got trapped in the discussion here tonight. Because I started talking, and unfortunately, I got instead of having my laptop over here, I got the chat room in front of me because the laptop I normally have over here, and I just glance at, is in the shop right now. So well, we're just having a regular discussion. I can't stand a fire with a spark and not even a Ben Pratt. Oh, be careful of that, Scott Mac. And these are guys that used to light them. Holy smoke. Just for fun. Greg, most people have, oh, let's see, I suppose, what to import. Uh, well, I'm not for annulling any of our amendments, any of our freedoms. So I started to look, the Freedom Restoration Foundation. You'll see the website. I got to update it, but we didn't call it the Preservation Foundation. We called it Restoration. We got to get some freedoms back. Uh, yeah, exactly. That's why it's named that. We got a group in Facebook. We got a group in MeWe. You can join them. We got like over 1,000 members on our Facebook group. Anyway, so I started that organization. And we got to get active with it again here real soon. I don't want to see any of our freedoms curtailed. But that's what they want to do. They want to take them all away. They want to take all your freedoms. This whole business of you will own nothing. You'll have no privacy, but you'll be happy. That's taking away every right you ever had. And suddenly you're a renter of everything, even your underwear. You will not own your, when they say you will own nothing, they literally mean it. Nothing, not even your underwear. You got a homestead? You won't. They don't want anybody to be independent. They don't want anybody to have a homestead, land. They want you to eat whatever crap they send to you. Oh, yeah. Use whatever consumer products they send to you. Mm-hmm. And rent everything. What do you think Larry Fink, the guy who's buying all the homes up to, at discount interest rates to turn around and lease them back to you at high prices? Yeah. Isn't it funny? He's now the head of the WEF. Don't that tell you something? Shouldn't that ring your alarm bells? Of all the people now to take Klaus Schwaber's slot, it was Larry Fink. Oh my gosh. If that don't stink, you tell me what to think. Larry Fink. Ah, you'll own nothing and be happy. It's the most terrifying thing said in our history. Please, those are Jules. They also, if you go to the WEF site, and I showed you Noah Harari in his videos, he tells you there's no God. He tells you people invented God. He tells you that you got no soul. He may not. And they're going to put a chip in you. And they're going to turn you into a robot. I am robot. Yeah. If you don't take the chip, you won't get that digital money, which will be the only money exist. Yeah, it's going to have a string on it too. If you don't satisfy their social credit score, your bank account goes poof, and then you can't pay the rent. See, that's when you got to rent. Because if you got to rent, even though they give you money, you're a puppet. You're a puppet under total control because you own nothing. You got to live in their place. You got to rent your underwear. You will have no freedom and no privacy. They'll probably put a camera on you. Everything you do is all day long, and anybody in the world can probably just log on and see what you're doing. I mean, even anywhere. They said no privacy. You better take that to the bank. That's exactly what they mean. No privacy. But you'll be happy because you got nothing to worry about. They're going to take care of you. Yeah. As long as you satisfy their social credit score, as long as you worship whatever they tell you to worship, whoever they tell you to worship. Mm-hmm. Is that the world y'all want? It's coming, and it's coming fast if you're not careful. We could see it starting in months. You are then part of the hive. Exactly. And what have I told you guys was my objective here? Help you thrive, survive, and stay out of the hive. How many times have I said that? My objective is to help you thrive, survive, and stay out of the hive. I've said it so many times it wasn't funny. And I've showed you who the hive masters are. Oh, they admit it. They tell you at the WEF. They tell you. Just Noah Harari. A lot of people think he's great and wonderful. Oh, look at him. He's got all the answers. You see a lot of people on social media saying that. WERF. Now, that's a good way to play that acronym. No, I don't think so. I think if you allow it, yeah. But that's why I've been telling you, keep your eyes wide open, head on swivel. And I'm here to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. Be as independent as you can. Grow your own food. If you can get yourself a homestead, do it. Because they don't nobody homestead. And then let's get this freedom restoration stuff going. People, please read the Genius Act. We'll start in June. Okay. So, and people on all sides of the political spectrum will be subject to this, and a lot of them got a surprise coming. Big surprise. You got to remember the good book talks about the great deception. And it's going to be so good, the deception that even the elect would fall for it. Sunday is my Sabbath. There we go. Well, oh, Saturday. Okay. God rested. I can't argue with that. Gave the government 15,000 in 3 months. Still got two letters saying that my bank account will be seized. Wow. So there's the long arm of the law, my friend. Sorry to hear that, Scott. Haywood Farms. What's the Genius Act? I'll have to check it out. All right. Saturday. Yep. World Economic Forum needs the USA to fall for their plan to work exactly, and that's why they want to do our country in. And that's why they want to do in Western countries. They don't like countries where people think for themselves, where they believe in rugged individualism, because rugged individualism is their enemy. That's why they threw our borders wide open, is they want us to lose our self-identity as a country. That's the bigger reason. Yeah, it's part for them to get votes, but it's the bigger reason is to cause us to lose our national identity, our sense of identity of who we are. So that all these freedoms can just be swept away because they'll offer somebody some dingly little glittery ball on a chain. Oh, look, if you do this, you get this. Oh yeah, we'll set you up and we'll give you uh what do they call that? A guaranteed income. What is it that they called it? Some kind of little income, and it'll be paid for by robotics. And we'll give you this income, and you'll have nothing to worry about. You're gonna be happy. We're gonna put a camera on you everywhere you go, even in the bathroom, in the shower, probably, and wherever else. In the whole world, anybody can log on to it and see you at any time they want to see you. But literally, they mean they said no privacy, and they literally mean it. And you'll own nothing. Stablecoin, all those things are bad. All those things are bad. All that digital money of that kind is bad. Kids are asleep right now, so they were tearing the house up a few minutes ago. They tear the house up for about 40 minutes, maybe an hour, then they crash for about as long. Then they get back up and do it all over again. So I got to move a few things before I go to bed. So Chinese can't drive. Oh Lordy. Yeah, they're buying their BYD cars in Canada. The United States has disallowed it. So in any event, there is the DFLOC website to track and avoid those flock cameras. Okay, interesting. Yeah, but they'll put a camera out. You'll have your very own camera pointed to you. They want us to be sheep. Exactly. And what do you do with sheep? You send them down the chute to the S House. You got to remember what was in the Georgia Guidestones to contain the world's population to 500 million. And some, like, what's his name, started CNN in Atlanta. What was his name? Ted Turner. Him and Oprah and some of them got together. They were talking about 200 million tops worldwide. You think these people are your friends? Oh, they'll lure you in. Oh, they got all the answers for you. It's gonna be sweet, just as sweet as fly bait, and just as poisonous. That's why they don't care about the products they feed you. They're making profit, and it's helping them build their little empires. As oh, you are getting sicker, and you get sicker, well, then you got to get medications. Oh yeah, and that gives them even more profit. The sicker you are, the more money they make. That sounds like what the founder of permaculture thought. What did he think? Mollison, right? Founder of permaculture, Mollison, come out of Australia. What did he think? They're eugenicists now. They won't stop at 50, 500 million. No. Well, they were looking at how many people it takes to support them, the elite. How many do they require to support them? If you are a useless eater, you're not serving them, they don't want you. If you don't agree with them and suck up whatever they want and lick their feet, they don't want you. But I got news. Jesus Christ don't like them. And I got more news. There's more of us than there is of them. And I got other news. If you keep your eyes wide open and head on the swivel, you'll see their crap coming. Whether it's some bug that they want to use against us or whatever. That's why, again, I like this universal habitat concept because I can hermetically seal it and be totally self-contained inside. Mm-hmm. Good morning from Montana. Happy Easter. I drive an old vehicle. Problem is I'm nearing 400,000 kilometers. I will surely buy the oldest date vehicle when forced to. Yeah, Scott Mac. Yeah, about everything I drive has got over 200,000 miles on it. Some of my vehicles have been kind of dropped miles on them that been to the moon. More miles than it would take to go to the moon. I mean, the guys in Artemis 2 are stretching to get as many miles as some of my vehicles. My newest vehicle is 20 years old. My newest vehicle. And my oldest truck is a 76 model. It was actually built in 75. So it's 50 years old. I mean, really soon to be 51. I got a 47 tractor, and that's not the oldest machine I got. So, in any event, uh, listen, these people are evil. I know that. So I've been trying to tell y'all for a long time. Just 20 years ago, I was a telephone cable in Anchorage for GCI. We were out of a job in a few years when the fiber took over. Now AI will destroy our generation again and retirement. Well, one of the best ways to deal with AI is to learn it, master it, and co-opt it yourself. That'll also help you understand what they're throwing at you, how the keys work. I got these API codes and different things like that in it. Uh, can't be tracked. There's ways to avoid it. But I'm also trying to come up with the ultimate escape here. And I think the universal habitat's one of them. But I've also advised everybody to form communities. We need to be able to trade amongst ourselves and barter amongst ourselves outside of their system. You ever read You ever read the I used to have the whole book series behind me. Of course, all my books are packed up. You ever read the Left Behind series? What they do in the Left Behind series, they set up their own economy. They set up their own systems, their own trade, their own networks. And they did a lot of it by hacking the computer systems. They had master hackers on their side so they could obscure the watching eyes for what was going on. Well, if you want to be able to do that, you got to master the AI that they're trying to use against you. Yeah, exactly. You got to master the AI that they're using against you. So knowing AI is not a bad thing. It don't mean that you were in on their game. It means that you're able to deal with them mano a mano. Anyway, a mechanic said they'll be under another company name. Wow, Willie, so you know if it's true the heads of military refusing to put boots on the ground in Iran? I don't hadn't heard that, but I don't think the plan is to go into Iran proper. They may take some islands, possibly. Now I want to show you, I got to show you guys some news. I've been talking, I haven't been showing you any news. I have read a few of the books on Left Behind. I saw the Left Behind movie. I read the entire series because the way I fell into the understanding of how the world is really working was back in the late 90s. I decided to write a book. I thought I could do better than the Left Behind series. I had a concept for a book, and I may write it yet. Part of what I was wanting to do and how I wanted to, it's been kind of overtaken by events. But so I thought, well, I'll throw in some, to make the book a little juicier, I'll throw in some, it was an end times thriller action novel. End times thriller action novel. I thought I could do a way better job than they did in the Left Behind series. I still think I can. But I thought I was going to throw in a few little zingers from, various conspiracy theories, which I was aware of. And so I started digging into them. The more I dug, I went down a rabbit hole. I found myself going down a rabbit hole real fast. It's like, ooh, way worse than I thought it was. I knew about it. But when I really started researching, it just drew me in like a black hole. It was like, yikes. This can't be. I didn't want to believe all this stuff. I knew about some of these things, but this is wow. And that was in the 90s. I've known about this stuff since the 70s. I was in high school. I've had the book non dare call it conspiracy for a long time. And, I used to follow end times prophecy radio broadcasts and things like that. I bought the book Late Great Planet Earth and from Hal Lindsey, and then David Wilkerson's books. What was his? He had a prophecy book back in the 70s. I had a copy of that. Yeah, I've been into prophecy since I was a kid. I read a lot of dystopian novels. Uh, and we're both Army veterans. Yeah. So anyway, Greg has news. Yeah, let's get to the news here. The Ark is more complex than any supercomputer. It's an energy system, a comm system. Never had an older brother. All right, let's get into some new stuff here. 55 3 weeks ago. Well, you're double nickel, I'm double six. How about that? I'm double six. I'm 11 years older. My oldest brother is 10 years older than me. So, so talking about the house of Klaus, Larry Fink, and supporting those guys, hey, I got another way you can get out of that and not support them for now. So let me do a share. Bing, 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 bing. Because every time you buy one of these consumer goods, you're not only getting all the toxins they dish out at you, which I've covered in several other videos, like toothpaste. Over 90% of your toothpaste have heavy metals. There's heavy metals and chemicals of all kinds in just about all this stuff. And we got now 12 companies that have bought out over 550 different brands here. It's not just in the United States, guys. It's all over the West. But the United States is worse because uh, our regulatory agencies are in bed with the regulators in bed with the regulatees. And there's some things that they disallow in Europe that is allowed in your food here. Food and consumer products, your personal care products, a lot of it. So, and some of it ain't even labeled. And I've covered that in some of it, like toxins in Dawn dish detergent. They aren't even on the label. I've covered that here. I'll cover more. But these 12 companies have controlling interest in them with the three big asset management companies. Yeah, see, the big three asset managers dominate U.S. corporate control. And the biggest one is BlackRock. And who runs BlackRock? Larry Fink. Who runs the WF? Larry Fink. Does that stink? Mr. Larry Fink. Do they care if you're eating toxic stuff? No. It's good for their business. They don't care. Oh, the FDA certified it's all good. USDA says it's all good. Eat all the Roundup you want. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, right. Anyway, y'all know what's in Cheetos? Wow, guys. You might not never touch some of these things. Doritos, if you knew what all they had in them. But, my friends, so yeah, they got control over all this stuff. And if you get sick, well, you're just going to go buy medicine, and that makes them even more money. And you got to remember, they don't want you around anyway. So the House of Klaus, BlackRock, Larry Fink, well, every time you buy one of these, you're voting for that. Every dollar you put in is a dollar vote toward that system, toward the WEF, because that's where it goes. And we've talked about that some ad nauseum. So there's something you got to do. So, I set up the Freedom Restoration Foundation. Well, I got another thing. So to handle the political side, but to handle the economic side, switch away from this. Just switch away. Grow your own food as much as you can, or buy from the farmer's market, buy local. But we cover a lot more. It's not just food. It's all your personal care products. So I've set up to handle that. Switchwithgreg.com. And if you go to switchwithgreg.com, we got a family-owned company. It ain't part of the big corporate circle here. Not at all. Family-owned. Right here in the good old US of A. All the products are made here in America. So a few of them are made in Canada, but it's all made here in America. Non-toxic. Even the cleaners are plant-based and extensively tested for safety. Plants are clean, unlike the ones I was showing you where there's 2,000 different products contaminated with rat feces. I just showed you guys recently. Y'all not really watching my consumer product videos. Y'all need to check them out. It's going to shock you if you watch them. So check this out. All you got to do is come up here and fill out this form. This is my website. It's not a corporate website. It's mine. And then I've got a friend who's in our community, Lisa, who will hook you up with this. So you just send it, and we're the only two that's going to get your data, and it's going nowhere else. And we're not keeping this stuff, guys. So this is your chance to switch away from the mess, to switch away from all the toxins, to switch away to something more wholesome, to switch away to a family-owned company, to switch away from the House of Klaus. So I'm taking it on every way I can. And the universal habitat will be another way to take it on. I've got tons of videos about growing worms, about gardening, eating wild edibles and wild medicinals. And once I learn the ones out here, you'll see some more probably, but I'm put on another channel. Anyway, News. And I'm not looking at the chat room right now. I probably need to open on my phone just in case anybody gives me another super chat so I can give them credit. I got to get this fast. It's a lot later than I wanted to be on here tonight. So let me pull up YouTube on my phone. Give me a second, guys. I usually have this pre-pulled up before I start the video. No, don't do that. Trying to YouTuber's trying to put me into something. Okay, good. Not gonna watch the chat here. Pant-based or not safe because it's better than the chemicals you're going to get. A lot better than the chemicals you're going to get. Now, in my stuff that I grow, I use absolutely no chemicals in my garden. I don't use chemical fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, nothing. And the techniques, the way I taught gardening was you don't use any of that. If you use worm products, you don't need any of that. If you prep your beds properly, you don't need any of that. Most people plant a garden where everything they got to have got to come from a store. That's not a way to survive. That's not prepper friendly. That's dependent. They want you dependent. Quit being dependent. Now, I used to have some seed companies. I got to set myself back up with these seed companies. I think something went wrong with that. So, uh, I'm bringing you all the elements to help you. You're not going to find better products anywhere else. U.S. pilots, yeah, so they had a heavy firefight. I mentioned this earlier. Why they keep showing planes? It's not an F-15. Anyway, keep sending images that aren't even the subject matter aircraft. It looks like an F-22. So much for all these stupid journalists. You can't believe what they show you. Says Second Airman was injured in the firefight. Was safe after a miraculous rescue mission deep inside Iran. That's some of the crash wreckage there. So Trump cited the gospel. Oops, I lost that article. Yeah, this is something I gotta be careful. There's some video I don't want to hit showing the actual bodies. I don't want to play that. I was actually wanting to show you now. That's an F-15. That's an F-15 right there. F-15E. Anyway, what did Trump say? He said, "We got him, my fellow Americans. Over the past several hours, the United States military pulled off one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history." Now, that's true. It was a combat-oriented one. They had both the IRGC forces and civilians going after this guy. For one of our incredible crew members, officers who also happen to be highly respected. Oh, well, once he got that plural, but then he mentions a colonel. Yeah, he's got some problems with his writing here. And who I'm thrilled to let you know is now safe and sound. This brave warrior was behind enemy lines in the treacherous mountains of Iran. It's real small. It's hard for me to read this. And being hunted down by our enemies who were getting closer and closer by the hour, but was never truly alone because the commander in chief, Secretary of War, Secretary blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he had communications with the rescue teams. So anyway, I'm not read his entire statement, but he did cite Easter. He didn't mention his Easter. So I got to be careful. This might be where somewhere I got to be careful. There's some video that shows people's corpses, basically. I got to be careful. I ain't gonna, YouTube will hit me hard if I show that. Anyway, Trump said many Iranian military leaders were taken out in the strike, and yeah, there's a video of the bodies. Oh, well, that was another strike. He took on. All right, see, I was getting away from this story of the rescue. In the rescue story, it looks like a bunch of them formed a convoy. And that's the last thing you want to do when you're facing American military, especially our special ops and the firepower our aircraft has. And all you got to do is see the road to death, on the way to Baghdad from Kuwait. Everybody was incinerated. Lottie Dottie and everybody on that road was fried. So, yeah, you don't mess with these guys. You do not mess with them. They are very capable. Um, but yeah, if you see my surviving EMP video, I give you some tactical training in that video. Last thing you do want to do is line it up. You'll be taken out. And that's one of the things I talked about in the video is you want to keep a tactical separation when you're on maneuvers. And, if you have to bug out and you're with a mutual assurance survival group, a survival tribe, yeah, you need to know and understand it. You don't all bunch together. You got to spread out. I taught that. And these guys ain't smart enough to do that. They're supposed to be military in the military, and they act like that. Surprising. You know, don't think they would do well against U.S. forces tactical situation if they're going to do that. But they got the numbers. They got big numbers. I don't think we're going to put boots on the ground inside Iran, other than maybe somebody going in for the uranium, and that'll be the most risky thing we've ever done with special ops in the history of the United States. I've talked about that 3 or 4 times already. So Iran struck Kuwait water and desalination plants and power plants and government offices. This desalination could be a game changer. If they hit too many desalination plants, you got 42 million people over there who will be perishing. So you can't get them out fast enough. They run out of water. It could be a huge humanitarian disaster. But the UAE is trying to get the United States to seize Abu Massa and Greater and Lesser. How do you pronounce TUNBS? It's like Tums, Thumbs, in the Strait of Hormuz. So those islands happen to be some of the best strategic places to set up forces to stop drones and stuff to open the strait up, except for you'd still have problems with Kasem Island, but Kasem Island would be exceedingly hard to take. These islands would be easier to take. They used to belong to the UAE, and Iran took them back during the days of the Shah. So these used to be islands that belonged to the UAE. So UAE wants them back. These islands probably are takeable by our MEU 31, I mean Expeditionary Unit 31 coming in on the Tripoli. They could take those 3 islands. And they hold them. Problem is we don't have enough interceptors. But that's a lot more straightforward than going after Karg Island. Should we take them? That's a whole nother issue. I'm just saying that UAE is trying to get the United States to do it because they want them back. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's over in a few weeks. Lord Jesus Christ, I ask you to guide us in the peaceful agreement. The people are fodder. That's the truth. All right. So let's go through this. I'm just bringing you guys the news here, what they're saying. That don't mean I agree with it. I'm just bringing you the news here. Inside Iran's underground missile cities that enabled them to defy Trump, how fortresses buried in granite mountains protect huge arsenals of weapons and hidden rocket ports. Talking about launchers. Yeah, they got some deep facilities way under granite and missile cities. Now, this is talking about something called the Yards Missile Base. And yeah, they still got huge underground facilities. Base carved into 1,650 feet of a mountain under granite, 4 to 6 times stronger than concrete. Granite is tough. So they're showing how they can actually launch missiles out of this little tube from this underground missile base. Yeah, these GBUs aren't going to take it out. You might seal the entrances at most, so they can't fire from it. Maybe cut off their air. So yeah, this is it on Kazamali. Yeah, it's right in the middle of the country. See, guys, it's right in the middle of Iran, right in the middle. And this is somewhat they got down on this, but huge tunnels full of drones and missiles. Yeah, like this video. Wait a minute, we got an ad now. Skip the ad. Once I still got that on, I said we're not playing it. They got a lot of these bases. Oh, good grief. Why they put the name of a news organization on this is as if you show it, you only have a copyright. So I just noticed it. This video is videoed by the Iranian military, which means it's a government video, which is not supposed to be copyrightable. And then they put their logo on here. That's so stupid. That mess. All right, but I've only played a little bit and I've been talking over it, so it should be considered fair use. I hate to get I have had copyright claims recovering the State of the Union address from a British news organization. It's like, you got to be kidding me. I fought that one and I prevailed. But you got to be careful fighting copyright claims. If you don't prevail, or if YouTube don't agree with you, they can shut you down. That happens to a lot of channels. So if they don't like you, they're just hunting an excuse to shut you down. They don't like me on the platform. Anyway, so I'm telling you guys, now Iran, I talked about how they use kids to clear minefields. Well, the fact now that they're recruiting soldiers as young as 12 means even though they got the missiles and missile bases, a lot of their soldiers are defecting. And so they're trying to pull in anybody and everybody and get kids and old men. So that speaks to an air of desperation over there. Um, Trump set to extend a Iran war for weeks as audacious uranium raid plan would see troops and bulldozers flown into war zone. That'd be the riskiest thing we could do right there. No, we're not going to invade the country because it'd take us over 1 million troops to do it if we were just going to invade. We're not doing that. We don't have near the manpower to invade Iran, nor the political capital to do it. There's not the willpower in this country for that. Not at all. Now, U.S. takes claims to Greenland again, supposedly. But what this is talking about is they're actually negotiating with Norway to open a couple other bases. Everybody says, well, Norway's sitting and have all the bases you want. Well, actually, it requires some negotiations. So maybe that's what they've been trying to get all along. I don't know. So, so Iran is talking about warning Trump the entire region will become hell if U.S. attacks escalate. And so, yeah, here they're still searching, but they're talking about Trump. He gave a 48-hour warning to Iran, and as part of that greater 10-day warning, he says now you're down to 48 hours. He supposedly extended it because Iran asked for it, but apparently the time is up Monday morning, and he's claiming he's going to bomb uh, power plants and bridges. And so Iran says, you do that, all heck's going to break loose. Turns out that Iran still actually has a fair number of missiles and missile launchers. So can they pull it off? The number of launches have dropped. So there's a lot of unknowns here. Yeah, Iran's Revolution Guard will fiercely resist U.S. ground invasion. History proves it. That I believe that, but I don't see a full-blown invasion. We just don't have the manpower. Well, if we sent our entire military over there that we got today, we wouldn't be able to pull it off. We'd have to. I'm not saying we couldn't. We could technically we could recruit enough people to do it, but we don't have the munitions and we don't. The nation will not support it. When you don't have the political willpower, it ain't happening. But they might send people in for the nuclear stuff. I've talked about that in great detail in previous videos, the risk associated with that, how tough that would be. I'm not going to hit it all over again. I've done too much repeating tonight already. I don't like repeating stuff. U.S. and Israel prepare to rain on Iran. So yeah, Israel supposedly is just waiting for the word to go, and that's what they want to hear. So, but U.S., all Israel, I mean, all Iran has to do to shut the Gulf of Hormuz down, I mean, the Strait of Hormuz, is to be able to threaten to hit a drone or something on a tanker. So it's heavily in their favor as long as they can launch drones from anywhere. Then they've effectively got a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. In case some island there with all the assets net, that's easy to see. I think that yards facility would be used strategically against our bases in Israel. That's a different thing. All righty, guys. So this article talks about the resurrection, and there's a lot of evidence to support it in terms of just the historical, different accounts, historical. Uh, and, I'm not going to read this article, but it makes a strong case for evidence based on all the different accounts and how they add up. And according to this article, that's really the only explanation is the resurrection. Like I said, I've seen the Shroud of Turin. I believe it's real. I could go more into that if it wasn't so late. I was planning to talk about that more, but I got to hit hay here a minute. I didn't get any sleep last night. And it takes me an hour to process everything after and get in bed after I finish a video. So we're running really late. Iran's former top diplomat urged Dill to end the war. Now, this is interesting. So this guy, he said, hey, we need a deal. We need to stop this war. But he's not a diplomat now. He has no official standing to negotiate. But he's one of the guys that negotiated the joint comprehensive plan of agreement that was agreed to previously, I guess, under the Obama administration. That treaty, the JPOC, however you want to pronounce that, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Agreement. So he was one of the chief negotiators for that, but he's no longer a negotiator for Iran. But he's saying, hey, we need to have an agreement in this war. So maybe Iran will come around to that negotiate. This article says there can be no deal with these thugs. They won't honor anything. No matter what you negotiate with them, they're not going to honor it. So this article calls for just pounding them back to the Stone Age. California Post. So they don't want to argue, they won't honor any agreement. So just go ahead and obliterate them. So you can see there's a wide divergence of opinions. And good old Macaroni here, Macaroni. He is calling for the NATO allies to unite against the United States. Well, good for him. Because it's probably going to be like me clicking the no thanks button. It's going to get the United States to say, we're done with you, NATO. Repeated rebukes from NATO alliance allies could push Trump out of the alliance. He's already threatened to pull out, and I've said for a long time we ought to pull out. America's feckless NATO allies could prove to be the biggest losers in the Iran war because they're liable to use the United States as a member of NATO. That's why. But General Root is planning, he's the defense minister of NATO. He is European. He is planning an emergency trip to see Trump. I think he's going to try to talk him out of pulling out of the alliance. He is going to try mighty hard to talk Trump out of it. So who knows? I'd say we should pull out. Pull out of the alliance, pull out of the UN, pull out of all this stuff. Robot police dogs are now powered by AI and walking the streets of Atlanta. So your RoboCop is here, but your RoboCop is a robo-dog. I try to click the X on it. All it's doing is going there. Jeez, come on. I don't want to see that. Wow, I can't see the article. Stupid ad. Yeah. You got to fight these ads. You click the X to kill it, and it just brings it up. Wow. Well, there it is, guys. There's RoboCop. on the streets in Atlanta. The stuff is coming at us so fast, guys. The robotics, it's just that's like science fiction, but it's here. It's here now. I can't change the stinking website. I gotta stop the show. Oh, there it is. No, it just deleted 4 articles in a row as I was trying to click them to turn them on. Jeez. Everything I had pulled up, space, weather, and everything else. I stopped the share. I pull them back up. I had 4 things open to show you, and it deleted every one of them while I was trying to open it. Ain't that lovely? My computer, I need to throw it away. I've sat here today, I spent most of the day today copying files off of it because I'm planning to turn this thing in. It's a piece of junk. But it's the most expensive computer I've ever bought and the worst computer I've ever bought all at once. I've had a lot of laptops through the years. This one's horrible. I'm going to do a video on these Lenovo laptops, Product Papas. I'm going to do another Product Papas interview. That's one of my YouTube channels. Anyway, let's see if I can bring at least what's the last thing I closed. Hang on, guys. Give me a second. And go back into history. Ice received. Oh, yeah, okay. There's a few articles I was trying to bring up. La, 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 la. Hang on. Some stuff I wanted to show you. Oh, now the history button don't work. This computer, I click on stuff and nothing happens. Or it delays it and happens later. This computer's driving me nuts. I can't get it to scroll to select what I want to pick here. Yeah. Okay, now it's done. Hang on, guys. Sorry about this. My computer is being a patootie. Dun, 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 dun. Flash Gordon. Whoa, we got some earthquakes. I'm quit that. Would you let me move stuff? Come on. It's just nothing's working right. Hang on, guys. This is the worst computer made, I think. I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna blow the lid on it. Yeah. Okay. Boing. So will you select this, please? Not kill it. Okay, good. Maybe we can get rolling now. We're almost done with the news. We're almost done with the news. And we're about to go to our egg count here in a minute because I've been watching the chat as we went, which I shouldn't do that for our morning people. I really did the wrong thing for our coffee club members in the morning. I got into the chat before I got into the news. So my apologies to them. That's why I'm going to lose my morning crowd doing that kind of stuff because they don't want to see all the chat. They want to see the news. And y'all kind of baited me in. You baited me in. Oh my gosh. I shouldn't even look at the chat room until, yeah, the idea was I was just going to look at it for super chats to give credit and then go through the chat room after the video. Y'all got me, y'all baited me in tonight. I'm going to have to watch it and not do that again. All right, because I'm going to lose a lot of my morning crowd doing this. Um, anyway, hope Dell's a lot better than this stupid Lenovo. Let me hit the share button. Come on, guys. Get back into it here. Which one is, whoa. Okay. This thing, no, I didn't want to take the whole screen. Stop the share. Stop that. I didn't what I want to do. This computer's just, sometimes you click on something, nothing happens. Sometimes as you drag across, trying to move your cursor, it just starts auto-clicking everything along the way. And it just takes crazy actions. This computer is hosed. The graphic card on it's bad. The touchpad's bad. The onboard camera, I'm using a different camera, is out. It's a brand new computer. I've had it in the shop. They had it for like several weeks, like 6 weeks or something crazy. They kept it for a long time. And they sent it back to me. Because one of my main problems was overheat. When I first turned it on, it overheated right off the bat. Anyway, that's systemic because this computer has too much horsepower and an itty bitty chassis that can't handle the heat. And it just fries everything. It's a stupid, bad design, really bad. All right, let me try to share again. Try it one more time. If this don't work, I'm gonna quit. It's just the article I'm gonna bring. I hope it is. Yeah. There we go. Now, claim the ice is receding from Antarctica. It is. It's melting from the bottom. All the water's coming out from the bottom. Why is it coming out from the bottom from the land? There's hundreds of volcanoes on Antarctica, and they're active. So uh, as the ice recedes and the land rebounds. So I mean, all that ice has put a lot of weight on Antarctica, and it's held it down. The same thing happened to Mid-America when Ice Age was here. Middle part of the country was depressed. When the ice melted off, the land rebounded, but it did so with a lot of earthquakes, especially in the Madrid Fault area. And maybe the earthquakes there is still a result of it's still trying to rebound. So mineral resources come into focus. Melting ice, rebounding land, and rising seas will change what resources are available. In Antarctica, new study finds lots of resources. While we're fighting for rare earth minerals and stuff like that. Rebounding resources. South Pole politics. Well, this so happens that the United States explored a lot of that land first, and a big chunk of it is named after Admiral Byrd's wife. So this article, Marie Byrd, Birdland. No birds on Birdland, maybe some penguins at the shores. So this article is saying, hey, we should claim it now. Marie Birdland is 620,000 square miles. And, that was explored by Admiral Byrd. And it's, kind of like roughly the size of Alaska. It's not all of Antarctica, by the way. So they talk about how the natures of the treaty, and it said it did not require anyone to relinquish the right to make new claims, and America explicitly reserved that right. And 66 years later, America still has not used it. The world has changed considerably since Eisenhower signed that treaty. So this article is making a case for the U.S. to claim a slice of Antarctica. Marie Birdland. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. You know what's crazy? If somebody's going to claim it one way or another eventually, it will be claimed by either Russia or China, probably. I mean, Russia's got their Vostok land down there, Vostok base. And China has already, even though they never were involved with the original explorations, they're already talking about Antarctica. So, hey, maybe we should. Maybe we should. I don't know. What do y'all think? We got a pretty good earthquake over here. What was it, a 6.0 in the Philippines? Got a new earthquake here, either New Mexico or West Texas. Where's that at? White City, New Mexico. Boy, we see a lot of them there. Puerto Ricans are dancing hard. Got an Australian earthquake right in the middle of the outback. Yulara, Australia. We got anybody from Australia in the house? Where's Rodney at? We got one up here in Wartonga. No, the Kermadec Islands. A bunch here in the Alaska Aleutian Island chain, all the way up to probably around Denali. Here, where's that at? Yep, Denali National Park. That's where Mount McKinley's at. Puerto Ricans are dancing hard tonight. We got a bunch of them here inside the United States. That's almost up at Jellystone. Uh, Hebgen Lakes Estates, Montana. Oh, we got some close to Denver here. What is this? Come on. Cerro, that Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Yeah, that was in Colorado too. That's way down. Western Colorado. We got something over here, Hermleigh, Texas. And of course, right close to San Andreas Fault down here. Banning, California. Yeah, a lot of little shakers going on, but nothing too scary right now. The sun solar storm is over. There was a small CME, about a G3. Well, it says strong here, but it still wasn't strong enough to be a threat to the astronauts, fortunately. One like a Carrington level event, far from that. Asteroids, we'll still get the one coming up on the 14th of April. 70% of the way between the Earth and the Moon. Nothing else to be worried about. And I wouldn't worry about that one either. All righty, we'll stop the share. Bada bing, bada bang. Hello. Now I can go back and look at the chat here directly on the main screen instead of my phone. All about Governor Ann Richards. She was the one that said that George W. Bush was born with a gold spoon and a silver spoon in his mouth or something like that, right? Or a silver foot in his mouth. I don't know. Yeah, you met General Flynn when you're 16 years old in ROTC. And he said, "Why do you want to join the United States Marine Corps?" And I said, "I want to be part of the president's army. Can you say, will join us?" Well, they deny everything and make kitchen counter accusations. It's the military way. Oh, what Billy was Billy saying when I was out. I survived the concentration courses at Little Creek. More than 100% of the entire platoon of students survived except for Hutley Fuller, who was too big for us to get over the wall. Uh-oh. Yeah, Billy Kid, you've been raising Canaanite. Nova is Chinese. Well, it started out as an IBM brand. I'm not gonna read everything here. All right, let's see here. Well, I'm glad you don't drive drunk, Billy the Kid. That's important to know. Don't do that. All righty, folks. So I've gone through most of the chat. There might have been a little bit just shut up I didn't go through. Is that red hair? Oh, talking about me? Go a little further back. Okay, Christy, what's the truth about the Iran war? You say everything they said's a lie. The other side lies too. As I showed you, their claims where they were saying they shot down, they had the video of them shooting down an A-10 Warthog. Well, the video they showed was not an A-10 Warthog. They claimed they shot down a F-35. What crash wasn't F-35? It was a F-15E. So don't believe everything they tell you either, Christy. Santa Claus, yeah, we're about ready for that. All righty. Let's do the egg count. How many eggs I get today from my hens? We're wrapping this up. It's late. It's almost 3 in the morning. I did not want to be on this late. I am not going to get sleep in the morning. This is terrible. I'm going to get in bed before 4. How many eggs we got tonight? I didn't get sleep last night. I can't handle this too many nights in a row. How many eggs did I get, guys? Yeah, we don't want to be drunk drivers. How many eggs did I get today? Time to guess. Go. Hey, all of a sudden, how you doing? Good to see you in the house. See, shall I keep guessing, guys? Gary Johnson, keep guessing. Keep guessing. Yeah, beating all around it. Keep guessing. Keep guessing. Keep guessing. Ain't nobody got it yet. Keep guessing. Keep guessing. Ah, keep going. Y'all ain't got it yet. Y'all beating all around it. Y'all ain't hit it though. Y'all beating. Y'all been. Whoa, there we are. All the sun. All the sun. You got it. 8 eggs. All the sun got it right. 8 eggs. 8 eggs. All right, quit guessing. Stop the guessing. When the numbers stop rolling, we're going to how many Easter eggs there are. All of a sudden got 108. Oh my gosh, I got that would wear my little 12 hens out having 108 eggs. All the sun got it. Salute to all the sun. Whew, I'm tired. I'm sleepy, guys. Didn't get sleep last night. All right, no more guessing for a minute. All right, Billy says nice song. I know y'all have caught up with me. There's a delay. There's a big delay from when I say something and people start responding or stop responding. Uh, 8 is the infinite symbol. Well, that's a good one for Easter. Lordy, what's happening? I'm tired, guys. It's a good symbol for Easter. All right. In the spirit of Easter, how many Easter eggs did I get? That's the next guess. How many Easter eggs? All right, go guess. Don't take my sleep. Whoa, all this sun, all the sun. You are on a roll tonight, all the sun. 3. All the sun guessed it first. All the sun is on a roll tonight. 3 Easter eggs. All the sun got it. She got both. Hey, in case y'all didn't know, she's all the sun and I'm Alice son. You know, if you broke my name down, it would be spelled all is on. I'm all is on. Yep, all the sun got it. Hey, Nami M1, good to see you. Haven't seen you in the house before. That's the first time I've noticed you. Yep, all the sun got it. All right, yeah, everybody knows that. Okay, good. So I'll show you the eggs. My little stand-up light here is dying on me. All right, here we go. Here they are. Now these 3 here are the Easter eggs. I don't know if I hold the light. You might can tell they are a light blue. They're actually bluish. Oh, they got a dent. No, it's just some garbage on it. I don't wash the eggs because they'll take the bloom off of them. They won't last. If you don't wash them, they will last a lot longer. Uh, they can last over a month without having to refrigerate them. That was a little dingy looking in light, but it is blue. If the yellow light will show the blueness, not really. But there's my eggs. It says that today. All right. My happy hens. I spoil them. Alrighty, folks. So with that, it is late. We need to get to cooking here. Let me go back to the chat room here real fast. Yes, happy Easter, everyone. Ain't that fitting for Easter? 3 Easter eggs. Greg, crack one to eat it live. I'll cook them. Lordy, yeah, I'll sure get tired. Alrighty, folks. Win nothing, you'll be happy. Well, you win a self-paid trip to lost wages. Pay your own way. All right. You win our gratitude and recognition. Yes, happy Easter, everyone. Colorado Jen, how you doing? Good to see you. Catch it all on the rewind here. So, yeah, I might not get lured into discussions of the chat. I might have to ignore the chat room. So I got lured in, and so the morning crowd ain't gonna like this video at all. They're not gonna like it because I didn't go right in straight in the news. And I started talking it, but then the chat room draw me in. So it's late. I gotta hit the hay, guys, but it's gonna take me an hour to get everything done before I do that. One of my hens lays a pink egg every now and then. Oh, that's cool. A pink egg. There's a certain breed that lays black eggs. Maybe I need, and they're black chicken. Maybe I need to get some of them. That'd be real freaky. That would be downright freaky. Anyway, uh, Justin Easterlin. Okay, pink eggs. Guess what, guys? I found a Casio Privet 400 musical key at Goodwill today for $49.99. Okay. All righty, folks. I'm going to say thank you, Mr. Fisher. What was his name? It's a fish something. So let me see if you're still chatting. Would he get a super chat tonight? I hadn't seen it. He might not be in the room with us now. Excuse me. Got one super chat tonight. So thank you, super chatter. I think it's Mr. Fisher or whatever his name was. Some fish. He was the one that's kind of calling me a boomer earlier. So I don't think all you mods for keeping the channel clean tonight. Thank you everyone for watching, and please share my videos. And one and all, a good night, good day wherever you are. In honor of the memory of our good lost friend, Granny.